Welcome to the Homegirls. Four top producing mega realtors, moms, wives, and friends talking about real estate and real life. Angela, Kristen, Jessica, and Lindsay are in the top 1% of all real estate agents and would be honored to receive your real estate referrals in Colorado. Join us as we drop a new episode every Monday anywhere podcasts are aired, in real life on YouTube, and connect with us every day on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at HomegirlsCO. Thanks for listening. We love you. Hey everybody, so today we're back with the Homegirls, and we just wanted to give you a little bit of information about us, what we are, what we're about, what we're gonna be doing, just so you guys have an idea of what to expect. So the Homegirls kind of started, we're four friends first, top producing realtors here in Colorado, moms, wives, business owners. So we do a lot, we wear a lot of hats. And so we thought it would be really important to show other women and men out there, you know, you're not alone. There's all kinds of things you can learn. We're still learning. We're here to give you guys some support, some inspiration, a little motivation, a little kick in the pants when you need it. And we're just really excited to be part of your morning commute, your daily activities. You know, we really appreciate the fact that you're taking your time to watch us, and hopefully that will help you guys grow your businesses in turn. So we've got all kinds of fun stuff coming up here in the next couple weeks, months, and this year. So you're gonna be seeing a whole lot of us, probably more than you might wanna see, but you'll be seeing quite a bit of us. If you're in the real estate realm and you want us to come visit you in your office, just have your team leader or managing broker reach out to one of us. We're here in Colorado, but we can travel anywhere. Some of us don't like to fly, so give us some notice, okay? That'd be Lindsay. But we're happy to come and teach you guys on site. We can always do Zoom calls and that kind of thing, but specialized training for your offices, we absolutely will do. We do a little bit of coaching, a little bit of public speaking, lots of training, and lots of inspiration. So hopefully you guys will get a lot out of this, and we're super excited to be here and be a part of it. So thank you guys for watching us. And I think it'd be important for you guys to get to know us a little bit. So let's start with Lindsay. So Lindsay, why did you get into the business?
I have never done anything else. This has always been my gig, my thing. So I was 17 years old, and I had always loved to look at houses, and I would go on the weekends and in off time from school to look at builder model homes. And I had walked into a sales office. I was getting ready to graduate high school, and I walked into a sales office one day just randomly here in Parker, Colorado, and said to the woman across the sales desk, "Hey, how do you do this for a living?" And she said, "Well, that's kind of funny that you ask, because I'm actually just sitting here in the office today. I'm the VP of sales for what at the time was the nation's biggest home builder." And she said, "I'm hiring for a sales assistant. Would you like to come in and interview with me?" So I did, and she gave me the job. She ended up being an amazing, amazing mentor to me for many, many years in the business. And from there, I worked all the way through about every different piece of the home building business that you can possibly be in. We started the very first online sales department with a builder in the United States. So the internet was just coming around, and people were just starting to need to go online and, you know, looking at all the different communities and trying to find a house. And so we were the first in the entire country to realize, hey, there should be an entire person that works for the builder that just helps people kind of narrow down what they're looking for online and figure out how to get to the right place, to the right sales center, the right model homes. I worked in land acquisition for a while. I worked in marketing for a while. I mean, I was all over the board. And then I worked my way on the sales side out of an assistant into what we call a sales associate, and then up into sales management, where I managed other people. I met Angela at a company that outsources sales and marketing staff to smaller niche builders across the United States. And we had a couple really fun years working there together.
All kinds of fun stuff happened there.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
lots of exciting stories we have. Yeah.
Crazy times. Yeah. Working for a small builder is very different than working for a big national corporation. So, but we met amazing people, and it was really fun. And then from there, I had my son, and the market had crashed or declined at that point. And I was living in Southeast Aurora and driving to Colorado Springs every day. And it was an hour and a half in the car every day there and an hour and a half back. And I was like leaving before he was up in the morning and coming home after he was in bed. And it just wasn't great. And then on top of it, because the market was in such a bad place, I could sit in my sales office for 3 weeks at a time and not see a human being. Like I remember thinking at one time when I'd been up all night long with a newborn, like I could go upstairs into my model home and lay down in the master bedroom and take a nap, and literally no one would ever know that I was missing. It was that slow. So I went out on the resale side of the business and I went straight into REO, which is about as different as you can possibly get from brand new, beautiful homes into, I mean, really sifting through crack houses and doing property evictions and
like real crack houses, not like fake crack houses, right?
Yeah, real.
Like crack has been smoked and dealt there. Yes.
Yeah. No, needles all over the floor. Like, so I would take Kalen, who's my son. I mean, he was a brand new baby. I'd tie him up in one of those wraps and he would ride on my chest or on my shoulders with me, and we'd go do property inspections for Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and HUD all day long. And the day that I knew that I had to get a nanny was the day that he started crawling in a HUD home with needles all over the floor. And I was like, okay, we can't do this anymore. So yeah, I mean, it's really funny when I look back on that now, like there are some stories that I could tell that are terrifying. Like that was a dirty and scary way to make a living. But at that point, it was just the only way that I had to make a living. And I actually loved it. So I was doing about 15 million a year probably in REO. And then that business changed. I mean, every time that you get your footing underneath you in real estate, it changes. It's very fluid. So, you know, I was one of the lucky few that was able to make the transition from a full-time REO business into what we would call traditional or regular real estate resale.
So what do you think separated you from somebody else that maybe that REO transition would have stopped them from pursuing regular residential real estate, and they probably would have gone and done something else? What do you think it was about you that propelled you forward?
They're very different businesses. If you've never been a part of REO, they're very procedure based and process based, and everything gets done exactly the right way at exactly the right time. It's a lot of data analyzing. They're very, very different businesses. If you have relationships, they're with your asset managers at the banks, they're not with clients. So a lot of, I mean, truly amazing people that I still am so inspired by weren't able to make the jump from an REO business to a traditional resale business. I have a marketing degree, and marketing is what I've always been super passionate about. And so I always continued to market myself as a real estate agent, even during my REO days. So I was still working a traditional real estate business in tandem with my REO business. So I think for me, instead of a lot of these amazing agents who were like, oh my God, the wheels just fell totally off REO, I have to start a whole new business. For me, it was just turn on this other different vertical. And that's something I think you'll hear the four of us talk about a lot. Never pigeonhole yourself into one aspect or one vertical of the business, because if that changes, which it will, you're in trouble.
So you went from home builders to REO back to essentially home builders because the market shifted. So when did you realize in the REO world when it was starting to shift?
I never went back out on site, but I've always kept my relationships really closely with builders. And I do about 35% of my business comes from really close work with builders. But I mean, we all started to really read the writing on the wall so Denver, statistically, Colorado first, we go into the recession first and we come out of the recession first, always. That's always been the way that we work. So we really lead the country into the shit and out of it. And so, you know, when we started to notice it here, people across the country were still doing hundreds and hundreds of units in REO, and they were like, what the heck are you guys talking about? But we were already really feeling it here. So I mean, you know, our accounts just started lessening. And a lot of it was talking to like the vendors that we worked out with. So the people that do trash outs that come in, that clean the property out for the bank, the people that maintain the lawns, the people that do all of that kind of site work, saying, hey, why aren't we getting more property assignments? Things are going down. And I mean, just studying, I love data, just studying what was in the MLS and what was happening. You were just starting to see regular properties climbing and foreclosures and short sales going down.
So what was your average sale price in the REO days compared to now?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question. So I would say probably close to 250,000 during REO days. Yeah, probably close to 250,000. And right now I'm right above 550,000. So pretty dramatic difference.
And how many years span is that?
That would have been 2009 to 2019. So 10 years. Yeah.
So when we tell people that real estate is the best investment, one of the best investments that you can make, we're not lying to you. This is a real thing. If you would have just bought that house in 2009, right now, you would have one hell of an investment just sitting there, lots of money in the bank, right? You might be in a different living position. So, you know, when we're telling you and giving you the market advice, it's not coming from a place of, oh my God, we have to sell a house, because we don't. We're telling you that because we want you to help grow your assets and get yourself some wealth and provide for your family. Like, that's why we're telling you that. We're not desperate. We're not those type of people. So let's see, what areas of Colorado do you cover?
I call it the East Coast. It's like this little strip that runs down the eastern side of town. I mean, truly, I will go anywhere for a great client or friends of mine, but really where I'm at niche wise is Aurora, Parker, and then Castle Rock. And over the years, I've strangely ended up with a very strong business up in Arvada and Lakewood, which is like Northwest as well. But
well, and I know you do Brighton too.
I do. I'm a traveling girl. Yeah, I put somewhere between 27 and 30,000 miles on my car a year.
Ooh, Lord. Okay. So what would you say has been something in your business that you wish that you would have started or knew sooner? Like, what would have you done sooner had you known that it would be a positive outcome?
I would have learned to ask for help sooner. In the real estate world or in business in general, you would call that leverage. I went from times in my life where I was a single mother and where I had to choose between buying diapers for my child and keeping the lights on in my apartment. And I know that a lot of us have that same story, but I had very, very, very difficult times. And so I have a lot of scarcity and anxiety, and just really from the way that I was brought up too, around keeping everything under control all the time. But as my business has grown, that has turned into, in 2018, my team did 290 units and I did 222 of them myself. And it came at, I mean, I can't even explain how high of a cost personally for me.
Was it worth it?
No. I know that's an interesting question. I met amazing people and I love the people that I worked with. And I don't want people to hear this and think that I'm being snotty, because I feel so incredibly blessed to have been given those opportunities, but it destroyed pieces of my life for sure. I just read this thing the other day about, I'm not going to say it perfectly, but a quote about how, work is a rubber ball. So you can toss it up in the air and it will bounce back if you give it attention. But there are other balls in your life that are made of glass that are not rubber like that. Your relationships, your self-care, your health. And so, I guess I just thought everything was a rubber ball like that. I'd work, and then I would give attention to these other things when I had time to give attention to those things. But some of those shattered and are irreparable. And I don't think that it was worth it. I think that I should have listened to my coaches. I should have listened to my teachers. I should have gotten more leverage and gotten more help so that my business could continue to expand down that road, but it didn't come at such a high cost personally.
What have you put in place for this year that will help you overcome that so it doesn't happen again?
Yeah, I have an amazing transaction coordinator. I couldn't live a day without her. She's like, I can't even tell you how wonderful she is. So she steps in and steps up and helps. I'm a Keller Williams agent, and in Keller Williams, in our system, we have a a system called Career Visioning. It used to be called Recruit Select, but my goal is to take that 5 times this year if I have to travel to see it or if it comes here, because while I've had many staff pieces and employees and buyer's agents and admins and all the things, I've never been able to slow down enough to take the time to hire the right people and put the right people in the right seats on the bus. So that's my biggest goal for this year. I think 2020 for me is a go slow to go fast year. So,
so who do you have on your team right now? What does your team look like? Do you have any buyer's agents currently, or just your transaction coordinator right now?
No, I don't. So currently it's me and my transaction coordinator.
Okay.
When I came off the year in 2018, there was a lot of personal stuff going on with me and going on with my team. And so I made the decision to start all over fresh again. And it was definitely the right decision. I did not have the right people in the right seats doing the right things. And I did not have people that were with me that were committed to the vision. And part of that is for sure my fault as a leader. And part of it is for sure my fault that I didn't spend the time to choose the right people. So last year I spent the entire year going through every piece of technology, every system that I use, every template, everything, all my profit and loss statement, everything, making sure that everything was 100% tight and exactly the way that I wanted. And now this year is all about setting the foundation and getting confident in bringing in the right people so that it's done the right way.
Something I want everybody to understand is Lindsay is an incredibly successful, what we call a mega agent. And probably if there's a better terminology for it, it would probably be a mega agent. Okay. So most people like Keller Williams or companies like that will call someone that sells $6 million a year plus a mega agent. So if Lindsay's doing, how many hundreds of millions are you doing? Like
about 150 million.
50? Yeah, 250 million.
150.
150? Yeah. 150 million. I mean, I hope that you do 250 in some point, but that's a hell of a lot of stress. But I want people to understand what that means is most realtors across the country, on average, what would you girls say that most realtors sell in a year? On average.
I think the statistic is what? I think like 2.5 houses or something. It's really like shockingly low.
Very low. Yeah.
Doesn't even cover your realtor dues.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that people get into real estate and then proceed to only sell 2.5 homes in a year?
Because they think it's easy.
They think it's easy. They watch HGTV and think that we show 3 houses and they get to collect really cush commission check, and that's not the truth.
They don't know that you're wading through a crack house full of needles, selling homes, listing houses with your kid strapped to your chest. Yep. That's not what they see. Mm-hmm. So that's another reason why we are here. I want to show everybody what real estate is really like. It's not as sexy as they make it look. It's not as easy as anyone says it is. This is a tough business in general, but then you add the woman factor, okay? We get a little bit different treatment as women. We have a couple of extra things that are expected of us. So we're going to go over all of that stuff. So Lindsay has built a business that sells $150 million in real estate in 1 year. Okay. I want you guys to understand what that is. That is massive amounts of business.
It's phenomenal.
One person and a transaction coordinator. Okay. So
well, to put it into perspective though, for people that aren't in our market, we have 23,000 agents in the Denver area. I think it is within our MLS. Lindsay has consistently ranked in the top 50 for production. Most of the teams that are in that upper echelon have 30, 40, 50 people on a team. She did this on her own.
Right.
And I say that because she's the most humble real estate agent you're ever going to meet. And she will never tell anybody that. And so I feel like as your friend, I'm going to shout from the rooftops because I find you to be absolutely incredible.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you guys. I was number 1 in the whole Denver metro area and number 3 in the state for a few years, but.
And she doesn't run like a whole brokerage under her name, right? So
no, it's her production.
Too.
No, but it was, I mean, it was hard. It hurt some things that I can't fix. And so this year is about me and what's next and how can I be both? How can I be a badass business owner and not sacrifice my entire life for it too? It's real shit.
It is. So we know that you sell real estate. We know that you like to do what you do. what do you do personally? Like, tell us about your family. Like, what do you do?
Yeah, so I have a 9-year-old. His name's Kalen. He is the coolest kid in the entire world. He's super smart.
He is. He's cool.
I'm very high D and high I, and that kid is all C. And he is so smart. It makes my brain hurt. Challenges me all the time. It's winter right now, and we're in the middle of a massive snowstorm as we're recording this. So I work during the winter time so that I can play during the summertime. I mean, I'm obviously still working all summer long, but I add extra leverage pieces in the summertime so that I can go play, because I love to camp and boat and fish and do all kinds of outdoorsy things during the summertime. I'm a huge reader. This is my 4th or 5th year, I can't even remember, I read a book a week. So I'm super committed to that. I listen to podcasts, really big on mindset stuff. I'm a giant nerd. I love comic books and superhero movies.
That's awesome. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Do you, like, on the weekends when you have like nothing going on, what do you watch? Do you watch anything?
Oh yes, ma'am.
What do you watch?
Yes. Yeah, Jessica and I are usually texting each other at about 11, like somewhere between 10 and midnight about what we're watching. Yeah, I watch a lot of crappy reality.
So do I.
I love those Kardashians. I can't help it.
Too.
They're gonna have to come on our show, because I think we've been 3 or 4 episodes now, and we've mentioned them in every episode. So
right?
They're gonna have to come on as guests, or we're gonna end up owing them like trademark fees or something.
Probably. Come after us.
Yeah, totally. I love, what else? I mean, I love action. If somebody is crying or there's romance, I hate it and I want to throw up. If somebody is dying and there's blood, yay.
Yeah, same.
Weird person. Yeah.
So Lindsay, what would you say is like one of those like quotes that you live by? Like, what is something that, like, other than that's what she said, that anytime we hear it, we're going to think of Lindsay?
Pressure makes you fresher. So that actually came from that mentor that I was speaking about that brought me into the business and mentored me in the business. She would always say that, when stuff was getting really tough, like, iron sharpens iron and pressure makes you fresher. So just keep going, because you're learning and you're getting better, even though it sucks.
I like it.
And who is that mentor, Lindsay? Who are your mentors? Who do you look to for advice? Who's your like brain trust? Like, who are those people, and what would you tell them if they were listening? And they better be listening.
I mean, certainly the 4 of you guys have been hugely instrumental and inspiring in my life. That mentor, her name is Ruth Rowley. She was probably the first extremely strong woman in business that I met. She was president of sales for the nation's #1 home builder, which is an enormous job. And, she did it so well. And I loved her. And she was one of those bosses that would be down there with you in the trenches. And that's what I loved about her. Like, I've worked for a lot of people over the years who tell you what to do, but don't do it alongside you. She's a beast. Like, no one works harder than that woman. Lisa Blake is somebody who can be polarizing. I'm just saying it. I love you, Lisa. But she is somebody who I love. I mean, she literally saved my life back in those 2010, 2011 years, and she taught me a lot. Other people that I look up to, Ben Kinney, I love, Kevin Kaufman and his partner Fred. I mean, there are so many. Cody Gibson is another one. There's so many incredible business owners in this business that I love to watch. Tony Robbins, Angela can't remember his name to save her life. Call him that guy.
That guy Tony. I at least got that guy Tony.
Yeah. My homie Tony. I just made that up.
I would say that when I think of Lindsay and what she's accomplished in the last year, I think of a couple of words. And it's almost like a quote. I would say that it's, with tremendous success comes massive sacrifice. And I hope for you that in this next year, you're able to have massive enjoyment and massive fun, and all of that stress and that sacrifice turns into something beautiful for you. So
it is a quote. It makes me want to do the Spider-Man thing. It's
Right, Spider-Man, right? We're all like kind of a little nerdy when it comes to that. Lindsay, you're into like Star Wars, aren't you?
I am into Star Wars. I do like Star Wars.
Are we allowed to talk about that?
Angela's husband, Josh, is like the Star Wars king. So I feel like if I don't say I'm into Star Wars, he's going to come over here and like whip me. I'm a Marvel girl. So like, I think I got my first Batman comic, which is obviously DC, but at younger than Kaylin's age, and just never stopped reading them. So I'm a comic book superhero nerd.
I'm a comic book person too. I'm into, my car is named Natasha Romanoff, the Black Widow. So
Nice.
I'm kind of into that too. So,
Yeah.
So Jess, what would you say? Jess is from Castle Rock. She's all over that area. Jess, what areas do you service typically? Like, what are your specialties?
So I do what we call the West Coast.
Is there like a gang sign for this?
I know, right?
You guys should have gang signs.
Gotta do something.
I can't. I'm not real good at the East. I got to work on that.
No.
Yeah.
I tend to throw up the wrong one, so I'm not going to.
We'll figure something out. So I primarily service the west side of town, which is, we just moved to Castle Rock from Littleton. I was born and raised in Littleton, and we moved to Castle Rock 2 years ago. So really the bulk of my business is still on the west side of town. So Littleton, Highlands Ranch, Lakewood, Golden. And then obviously now that I'm establishing myself down here in Castle Rock, I'm starting to get a decent amount of business down here as well with name recognition.
Okay. So Jess is an independent type of agent. So she works for a brokerage, but she's on her own, solo, doesn't have a team, right? Can you tell us a little bit about what your production looks like, how many transactions that equates to in your area?
So I did 41 last year, right around $15 million in volume, give or take. 99% of my business is sphere-based. I think growing up here, obviously that helps. The other piece of that too is we've talked about this before. I'm super known as this FSBO agent. So when we first moved to Castle Rock, I had to get my name out into the Castle Rock community. So the easiest, fastest way for me to do that was to go after FSBOs. So I focused primarily on for sale by owners here in Castle Rock. And
who helped you with that?
Huh?
Who helped you with that?
No one. I literally was like, this is what I need to do. So I made a challenge to myself. This was in January of 18, that I was going to get 8 listings in Castle Rock in 8 weeks. And I didn't know what it looked like, and I didn't know what I was going to do. And I had never called a FSBO in my life and made the decision. And I think I actually, back then I had messaged Kristen to help me to figure out what this looks like. And so Kristen actually, I think unknowingly helped me do this with her advice. And so I managed to get 8 listings in 8 weeks here in Castle Rock to establish my name very quickly and get my business moving on this side of town.
That's awesome.
So Kristen also specializes in FSBOs and that kind of thing as well.
Yeah.
Kristen's in a different part of town though. So Kristen's in Pueblo. Does anyone know where Pueblo is?
Super south.
Tell us where it is, Kristen.
Okay, so I am about 2 hours south of Denver and Castle Rock, and about 40 minutes south of Colorado Springs in a city called Pueblo. Born and raised here. I've never left, and I love it here. Got into real estate in high school, kind of like Lindsay did. I had just got fired from a position and I didn't know what to do. And so I walked into a real estate firm and I said, I want a job. So they gave me a receptionist job for the weekend because I was still in high school. Got a receptionist job on the weekend and then during the week whenever they needed me. And after working a year there, I wanted to step it up. So I asked for an assistant's job for anybody in the office, and that particular office rejected me, so I started looking. And an ad came out in the newspaper for an assistant position in real estate by the name of Kevin Cooter. And I applied with him.
We always laugh when you say his name, and
I know.
I'm sorry, Kevin.
It's okay. He'll get a laugh out of it.
He'll be a guest on our show at some point.
I don't know if we can
earn right to be on the Homegirl show.
I'm not going to be able to be on that show.
He will get a laugh at it. He's a fun guy. But I was his assistant for 11 years. Throughout that 11 years, he begged me to get my real estate license, and I told him no. At that time, I was doing all his short sales. He was doing REOs, and I was doing his short sales. So every time a listing would come in, anything that came in at that time was either an REO or a listing or a a short sale. So I would work his short sales. I was doing anywhere between 8 and 10 short sales a month for him.
That sounds like hell.
It
Totally.
was. It absolutely was.
If anybody doesn't know what a short sale is, it's like a regular transaction, but hell.
Yeah.
And then it takes like 10 times as long.
Yeah.
Like a normal transaction, and it's like a bunch of squirrels running in 19 different directions, and none of them ever end up in the right place, right?
Right.
Is that accurate? I feel like it is.
Yeah,
I did
perfect.
2. I think I've done 2.
Yeah. So I did that. And then about 5 years ago, my husband and his father shut down the company business. And my husband decided to open up a property management company we had maybe $10,000 in our account, savings and all. So I was a little bit freaked out. I had gotten my real estate license, and I'm like, how are we going to live off of sales, both of us? Like, how are we going to do this? So at that time, we decided to join forces and hold our license at Keller Williams. We both own and operate the property management company, and we also do sales as well. So
What's your average purchase price in Pueblo, Colorado, if there's any investors out there looking?
So right now, the city of Pueblo's average sales price is about $185. And
that's $185,000 US dollars.
Yeah, I know.
Probably the most affordable city in Colorado.
It is.
Right?
It is, yeah. And then the county, which is Pueblo West and the Mesa, is about $225. So
Wow.
yeah. So we're still affordable here. So.
How far up is that from where it was during the downturn, though? Because you guys must have taken a huge hit too.
You guys are so Pueblo West is a newer community. It was up and going right before the downturn, before the crash. It was up and coming. You literally can buy a 3,200 square foot home for $120,000. Right now, a 3,200 square foot home, again, depending on where, is between $275 and $350. Wow. So yeah.
And Kristen, how many transactions do you guys do? So it's you and your husband on a team, and I think your mom works for you or something, right?
Yeah. So it's my husband and I who do sales, and he does our property management. And then my mom is our office manager. She handles our books and she handles our property management company. And then we have an assistant who helps my mom.
And you guys are.
You don't have a transaction coordinator though, right?
No. And I need one.
You need one. Yeah.
I do.
You guys are high school sweethearts, right? You and Eric.
Yeah, so I met Eric my junior year in high school. We didn't go to high school together. We met outside of high school, and we've been together ever since. We're both 30. He's 35. I'm 34. So yeah.
Wow.
High school sweethearts. Yeah.
So how many transactions do you guys do in 1 year together?
So we do anywhere between 70 and 85 units, and we do about 15 million.
Okay.
Yeah.
And to give you guys an idea, Jess does about the same production amount, but she's only doing 41 transactions a year. I'm not saying only, but
right.
Kristen, to get that amount of production, has to work twice as hard, right?
Right.
Have to sell twice as many houses, right?
Right.
So
Yep.
to give you guys an idea of what that looks like, because I like to make sure people understand how many actual transactions it is, because that is kind of a big deal.
Right.
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 So, as house prices go up, your amount of money that you're selling every year is going to go up. Your purchase price is going to go up, but
Right.
that's just economics. But Jess, why on earth did you get into real estate?
So full transparency, I was probably the agent we all hated. I'm gonna get my real estate license, and I'm gonna just sell 1 or 2 houses a year, and that was gonna be it. So my husband is actually the OG realtor in the Lentz house. Ian and his grandfather actually owned one of the top real estate brokerages in Littleton back in, his grandpa opened it in the 70s, and they'd been working, in the real estate realm until he passed away in 2006. So I had a little bit of exposure to it, certainly nothing like you guys did. I was working for an orthopedic surgeon out of Seattle from home here in Colorado, and they brought my position back in-house. And so we made the decision that I was going to be a stay-at-home mom. And that was going to be what I did. That lasted 6 weeks before I was bored out of my mind and had to make a decision on what I was going to do. So my husband said, I always felt like you would be really good at real estate. And I said, no, because it did. I mean, it sounded awful to me. So I actually used my unemployment checks from Seattle to pay for my real estate license because I was like, whatever, it's free money. Like, we'll see what happens. So I got my real estate license in 2013, and I joined Keller Williams also that year. I went from, the mentality of 1 or 2 deals a year to being the rookie of the year the first year that I was in real estate. I closed 6 million and I hate to say very easily, but it was easy for me. And I found very quickly that this was something that I was not only good at, but that I genuinely loved and enjoyed and liked doing. And so from that, I became a productivity coach at Keller Williams a couple of years after I got my real estate license, which looking back on it, it's kind of a joke because I shouldn't have probably been in that role. We talk about hiring the right people. With that said, though, that role allowed me to ignite this like love for training and coaching that I have now. And so I'm super thankful that I was given that opportunity, even if it wasn't the right time. It was an incredible opportunity for me to explore something that I would have never even thought about. Like, it opened up my eyes that real estate isn't just always selling houses and churning deals. It can be so much bigger, and you can get genuine enjoyment and fulfillment, and you can help people in other ways other than just, achieving this American dream that we talk about. And so now I'm at a small boutique brokerage here in town with my old team leader from Keller. He opened up his own brokerage, and I've always just had a lot of respect for him. And so I made the decision to go over there when I left Keller. And through all of that, my real estate business has grown exponentially year over year. And I started a coaching business from home, kind of haphazardly, if we're being honest. I was involved with another group that I was helping coach, and it just wasn't the right fit. And through that, people would reach out to me for help. And so I started this very, unplanned coaching company that's kind of grown on its own, that I'm really proud of. So
why do you think that you are driven to coach?
I think it comes from that place of fulfillment, right? Like, there has to be something more that fulfills you. And I think we talk a lot about women. I only coach women, just to be totally transparent. I relate to them. I don't relate to a guy who's able to get up at 4:00 in the morning and go run his day and go to the gym. I'm not that person. So I don't feel
Kristen.
value to offer them. Huh?
That's Kristen.
Well, Eric's home. My husband travels for work. He works for the railroad now. He's never around. So I really, even though I'm not a single mom, I am. And so I coach other women. It brings me, I am more proud of these women when they call me and I know that they hit their goals and they took their kid to Disney World, and to know that I was a part of that, or I gave them something. And I run a really cheap business. Like, we always joke and say, like, I'm Jewish and so I'm cheap. But I think like that translates into any market, right? Like, the things that I do are easy to train other people on. And to help a woman who, I've coached a lot of stay-at-home moms who've never worked a day in their life, and they're now, making $150,000 a year. That's life-changing dollars. And to have those conversations and to be able to be a part of that journey, for me, it really is, outside of like your kids and how great your kids are, for me, it's probably the most fulfilling part of my life.
What would you be doing if you weren't a realtor? Like, what would you want to do?
So I have a biology degree, and I actually got my biology degree with the idea that I was going to go into medical research. My little sister had cancer when she was 2, and it was something that always intrigued me. So once I graduated from college with my biology degree, I applied on a whim to nuclear medicine school in Seattle, and I got accepted. And Angela also has her nuclear medicine degree, which is
Well, I don't have a degree. I was in the Air Force. I can't do college. I do high school. So I was in the Air Force and I did nuclear medicine. Yeah. So
and it's the fact, like, it's such a specialized thing, and there's not many people who do it. Yeah. The fact that 2 of us were in that realm was really weird. Like, the second you said, I watched you on a pod, it was with Greg Fowler, and I did this about you because we weren't good friends at the time. And I was like, how is this chick? What? Like, who else has a nuclear medicine? This is bizarre. So honestly, if I wasn't doing real estate, I think I would still be involved in the medical world in some way, shape, or form. I worked in medicine for 14 years before I got my real estate license. And I love that world, and I love the science. Like, I'm a science geek when it comes to this. We always say, so my oldest is 19. I had him when I was 18. And we always say he's such a science dork because instead of getting read like nursery stories and Dr. Seuss, Colin got read biology books, guys. Like, I would rock him in the rocker at 18 in college, and he would get read biology books and English books and whatever else. So we always say that's why Colin's so smart.
Wow. I didn't have that. I wish I would have had that. I did not do well in school at all. I barely passed, and that was my only goal, was to get out of it as quickly as possible. So that's what I did. I could not bear the thought of doing 4 more years of that. That would be terrible for me.
I was the same exact, I knew in high school that I was never, ever, ever going to step foot in a college. I didn't even put an application in.
College for me is very telling of my personality. I got pregnant at 17. I had a baby at 18, and I was told, your life is over. You're going to be on welfare. You can't go to college. I don't really know if I wanted to go to college, if we're being honest, but it became like this kind of an FU to everybody, that not only was I going to go to college and have this baby and do all these things that you're going to tell me that I can't do, I'm going to do it really well. Like, I graduated college with a 3.95 GPA, with a baby, working full time. And so I just think it's so telling of my personality that I would literally go to 4 years of
out of spite,
just show somebody I did it. And here I am all these years later, not using said degree. But
I think we're all like that. I mean, I definitely am like that. The best way to get me to do something is tell me I can't do it. So
100%.
So who are your mentors in business and life? Like, who do you look to?
You know, it's funny for me. For me, it's probably, I was blessed with the most amazing grandparents in the world. And so everything from the time I was super young, I always was driven by making my grandparents proud. And so that's something that still sticks with me today. Like, they've been gone, both of them have been gone for quite some time now. And I always think to myself, whenever I do something, would this make them proud? Would this make them proud of me? And so I think for me, as much as like I would love to sit here and tell you guys I have all these really amazing like business people and all these really great inspirations, sometimes for me, I think I'm a little more simple when it comes to some of this stuff. It's all about family for me. And so as long as I'm making my family proud and I'm making my immediate friends around me, including you guys, proud of what I'm doing, that's what inspires me, and that's what keeps me going.
So Jess has this incredible thing that she does every single day. She still runs a tremendously successful real estate business, and she does it even while she's taking her kids to school, picking her son up from school, and that's a non-negotiable for her. Like, what does your day look like? Like, do you schedule stuff outside of that, or is that it?
Very rarely, no. I mean, the answer is no. So right now, Hayden, I'm sorry, our timer's sorry. Right now, Hayden doesn't start school until 9. So Hayden's my youngest, he's 10. And I always think about me being a parent in 2 different realms. Colin, my oldest, my 19-year-old, we grew up together. And so there's a lot of really large mistakes that happen with having a baby at 18. There's an even bigger learning curve when you have a child at 18 than there is at any other point in your life. And so because of that, it has clearly made me what I think is a much better parent to Hayden. I wasn't around to take Colin to school. He had to go to daycare. He had to grow up a little bit quicker and be self-sufficient. And so with Hayden, it has always been a non-negotiable for me that I'm going to be there every step of the way, which obviously translates well for Colin, because when I got into real estate, Colin was 11. So kind of moving into his teen years, Colin finally got the opportunity to have a mom. And so because I didn't have all of those things with Colin, it's made me really appreciate the time that I have with him and being in a career that allows me the flexibility. So it is a non-negotiable for me. I don't start work until after I take Hayden to school, so I'm not typically in the office, which is right here, until 9:30. I'm typically done working every day by 3:30 because I pick him up. I go to baseball practice. I go to football practice. I never missed they're actually outside the door right now throwing things at each other. That I'm distracted, but they're literally in the hallway throwing. So I'm sorry. But I've never missed either boy, even when I was working full time at a regular job. I've never missed a football game, a baseball game, a wrestling tournament. And that's something that has always been important to me. We have dinner together every night as a family in some way, shape, or form. If it was up to me, we'd have Chick-fil-A every night. I hate cooking. But we sit down every night as a family. And that for me is an absolute non-negotiable. The kids are going to be gone soon, right? Like I have a 19-year-old. I know how fast it goes. They're going to be gone soon.
Yeah.
That's just the reality of it. The days are long, but the years are short is very much something that I live and die by with these kids. And I don't want to look back and say that I was so busy helping someone that doesn't remember my name 10 years down the road over my children.
Remember that. Remember that. Everybody who's watching this podcast, if you want to pick up your phone and go show a property and you're at your son's soccer game, don't do it. Don't do it.
It's just not worth it. This is time you cannot get back. And if there's anything that, like I said, having a baby at 18 changes your perspective very quickly on motherhood. And when you're given the opportunity to be a mom again in a space where you can truly be a mom, it opens your eyes to really the things that are important.
What would you tell a young mom that's just starting her career? Like what advice would you give?
In real estate?
In general?
Oh God. So much. I mean, I don't even know. Honestly, I think it just comes back to kind of what I was just saying. The days are long and the years are short. Like all of this other shit, because really at the end of the day, it's all shit. It can wait. Your kids can't, and you don't get this time back. You don't get a do-over. You get a do-over with the listing because there's going to be another listing.
Yep.
There's not another Colin at 9 years and 4 months who wants to go sledding with you. And there's not another Hayden who you get to pick up from school every day on Friday afternoon, and we jam out to Crisscross every Friday when I pick them up. Thing. You don't get that back. So for me, it's really put your non-negotiables and your boundaries in place and never ever stray from that.
So you were telling me this morning when we were talking, so we have a huge snowstorm happening right now outside. You guys might not see it, but there's one here. So Jess was telling me this.
That's why the kids are outside my door driving me crazy. I have boys right now. It's not just my kids. We have a house full of boys right now.
So you were telling me this morning that you guys and your family and your grandpa or your dad or somebody like took you out at midnight for like snow sledding or something. Tell us about.
So when I was a little girl, my dad always has like these crazy things, right? And when I was little, it has to be perfect. I think like that's the thing that I'm going to share with you guys the most about midnight sledding. It has to be perfect. There has to be a full moon. I think we're going to have a guest appearance really fast.
I'm actually hoping that by the way, I have a reminder in my calendar to ask her and harass her later tonight about going because it's a full moon. It's a super moon. So it's going to be extra bright and we have a ton of snow.
So it has to be a certain consistency of snow. The moon has to be out. It has to be clear and it can't be windy.
That's awesome.
These conditions in Colorado have to come together perfectly. So you are lucky to get a midnight sledding. And Hayden will tell you, I mean, while he's here, we go midnight sledding and it's the most fun thing in the whole world.
I've only done it once
at the new house.
I've only done it.
Yes.
So you might get to do it tonight. Are you super amped about it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think a house full of boys to do it with tonight too, because they heard me talking about it with him this morning and now everybody wants to
Hayden, we're going to have to drag your mom out.
Oh, there's no dragging. We'll do it. But this is the stuff that I love. Like for me, this is such a, like, I kind of like that this happened because this is a very real, like my life on a daily basis. My house is always filled with kids. The kids come here and they make themselves at home. They go in my pantry. We are the Sam's Club king.
Very organized pantry.
My very organized pantry. But the kids all know, throw your trash away, no shoes on they know how this house runs. But they love being here. And that is what truly, this is like sitting here watching them put on all their snow gear to go outside and play. Like, this is what makes my heart sing.
Awesome. Kristen, what are your kids doing today, or what's your son doing today for snow day?
Well, he's actually at Nana and Papa's every Friday. My kid is a four-day week here in Pueblo for school. So Fridays he has off, and every Friday he goes to Nana and Papa's because that's his thing. I swear if I told him to move out and go to Grandma's, he would do it in a heartbeat.
So So
I would have
your
moved in
son
with
and
my
his
grandparents in a
schedule,
heartbeat.
Kristen's son and his schedule, he does so much stuff, and that kind of drives your business, right, Kristen?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm like Jessica, I'm not going to show a house when I have to pick my kid up from school. Like I'm picking my kid up from school before I go show a house. Like that's my thing. I leave the house at 7 a.m. I drop him off at 7:30. I'm in the office by 7:40. And I'm working all the way up until 2:15, and then I'm picking him up. We come home, we do homework, we do swimming, we do dinner, and then on the weekends we do motos. So 9 times out of 10, I'm normally taking Friday afternoon all the way till Sunday evening off because of motos and swimming and stuff.
What is motos?
Motocross. My son races motorcycles, dirt bikes.
That's terrifying.
Yes, it is. It's very terrifying, but my husband wants him to do it and he loves it. So
By the way, we should all, I was thinking about this, it's very random, but we should go to the X Games this year in
let's
July
go.
all together, because we
Let's
all have these crazy children that would love to do that.
My kids
Right?
would love to go and sit and watch your kids be excited by that while they're on their phones. That would be-
Angela's son is so
Smart.
smart, and especially technologically. So I think if we told him, build a camera from scratch so
He'd
that
do
you
it.
can record
So we
the
can
entire
film
X Games.
Cade.
Yeah, exactly. He would do that. Let's do that.
Yeah, out of random parts that he finds in a parking lot. That's
Totally.
basically my son. Yeah.
So Angela, tell us about you. Like where are you located? Tell us about you.
I'm in Colorado Springs, Colorado. So I'm just north of Kristen, and I'm like the good part of the Oreo between Kristen and Lindsay and Jess. So I'm like right in the middle there. So Colorado Springs is growing so fast, super quickly. I'm, like I said, prior military. I was in the Air Force. I basically devoted my entire career to serving our military, because when I was in the Air Force and I was doing nuclear medicine, I got out early because I couldn't handle it. I couldn't handle the stress. And so the only way that I could think of to give back and help our military was to make sure that I was involved in the biggest purchase of their life. And that's why I only work with military folks. If you're not military, you can work with one of my other awesome agents, but I choose to only work with them because I couldn't do what they do every day. Literally, I couldn't. I tried and I couldn't.
So tell us what you run, because like you don't have a team, you have a brokerage, correct?
Nope, we have a family. Yeah, it's a brokerage. It's called Mackenzie Jackson. Mackenzie and Jackson are my crazy children. And we have agents. Last year we had 12. This year we're starting over. Last year I took a position where I was going to take over a larger brokerage, and it wasn't the family atmosphere that I wanted and I needed in my life. I've worked really hard to get to where I am, and I have a lot of non-negotiables myself. And one of those is I'm not going to work somewhere where it doesn't feel like family. And the family aspect is something I was missing. So we went back and started over. And so we're rebuilding our family now, and it's really exciting for us. So we get to pick and choose exactly who we want, and it's been really super awesome and fun. So rebuilding and failure is not necessarily a bad thing. I fail all the time. I just fail forward. So.
Right. Exactly. So what do? You have, how many kids do you have? Like, tell us about your family.
Thank God.
Okay.
2. We're done. Yeah. Boy and a girl. I'm not trying to be greedy. We got 2. We're good. Yep.
Yeah. I hear you.
And Mackenzie is the only
much like me.
girl.
Mackenzie is basically a mini mommy. Jackson, I don't think I actually had him, but Josh swears to God he's mine. So he looks just like my husband. He's basically my mini version of my husband. So very techie, super smart. He learned at a very young age that I couldn't help him with homework, and he had to go to dad. So,
Nice.
but super cool kids. Very, very blessed to have them.
So what do you do on extra time when you're not selling real estate? What do you do?
Race my car.
What kind of car?
I have a bright teal Tiffany blue Corvette, and I race it at the track. Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. I get my adrenaline rush that way. I used to play poker, but I was really bad at it. So
I can attest to that.
yeah, Lindsay knows. I get real bored after about like a half hour, and that's like a really bad trait for somebody playing poker. All in. We just got 2s. All in. Let's be over. But no, I race at the track, and it's the adrenaline rush I need, and it's less stressful than real estate. So go figure. I mean, this is the most stressful job, I swear it, that anybody could have. There's so many peaks and valleys, highs and lows.
Yeah.
Within an hour of our work day. It's just insane. So that's the stress relief I need on the weekend.
So tell us a little bit about the Colorado Springs market. So like what's average sales price? What is your team doing? I'm sorry.
So right now our market is in kind of a famine state. There's no houses. And when a house comes in the market, there's like 5 agents waiting with pugil sticks in the front yard to get into that house. Probably now today, there's probably about 15 out there waiting in a snowstorm to get into a house. It's priced under 300. 300 is kind of our great equalizer here. So at 300,000 and above, probably to 400, you've got probably 5 people waiting for that house at any given time. Under 300, it looks like an immigration checkpoint outside of that house. It's insane.
Wow.
So our market's pretty crazy. My personal average sales price, I don't specialize in the higher priced houses. I mean, I still do them. They're just not my people, right? So I specialize in, between 275 and 450. Those are my people. If anybody thinks about listing a house in that price point, I know about it. That's my specialty. So I do come from the new build world, just like Lindsay. I used to work with her for a bit, and we were very competitive, and that was super fun to have somebody that actually can keep up, right? So every time Lindsay would put something on the board, I was like, that ain't gonna happen very long. So I was like, I'm not going home until I put something on the board. That ain't happening. But no, so I come from the new build world, so lots of construction background. I built and designed modular homes in Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, East Coast, like real East Coast. And then I moved out here to be with my husband, and started working for new builders here. And after that, I kind of reached my glass ceiling. So got to that ceiling and then decided, got to start my own brokerage. So I never worked for any other brokerage. I just started my own. And based on treating people the way I wanted to be treated, and teaching people, what I wanted to be taught, and learning the business organically on my own, the residential side. It's very different from the construction side of things. So learning all of that on my own was a challenge. So now I do work with my husband too. He's an employing broker for our company. He takes care of all the stuff that my real estate brain can't figure out, my social brain. He does all the stuff that I can't do. He's really good at computer stuff, getting our website set up, all the back end things, keeping me out of jail, which is like a full-time job. Dealing with attorneys, that's what he does, which is really a full-time job for sure. But yeah, he's awesome. I wouldn't be able to do what I do and be able to help the people I help without him. So.
Right. I'm the same way. We're the same in that aspect, because my husband does the same thing. Like he's on the back end doing the back end stuff and trying to keep me locked down is what I should say.
I think it's very, very difficult to be married to people like us. And I can't thank him enough for giving me the space I need and calling me on my shit when I need it, because nobody else does it because they're afraid. They're afraid of me. And I don't understand that. They treat it, I don't know if you guys get this or not. Some of you probably do. I bet Kristen does. But people are terrified of me, and I don't understand it.
Me too. And I don't get it. I'm like, why?
I bet Lindsay gets it too. I think they're intimidated, but they don't know how to say that. They just say they're afraid.
No, I've never had that in my entire life. So I get, you're a dumb blonde girl who doesn't know anything about anything. You smile too much. How can you take life seriously when you're laughing and saying stupid jokes all the time? I'm the exact opposite. Nobody ever thinks I'm serious, and nobody ever has any idea who I am. And Jess and I were just talking about this yesterday. I get, people are rude every day. Don't forget to sign your contract, Lindsay. Don't forget to put this amendment in. Like, I have never written a deal before in my entire life, and I've never.
And Lindsay's like, I closed more deals on Tuesday than you did all last year. Can you leave me alone?
Right.
I would never say that though. Like, I literally am just like,
I said it for you. It's okay.
Sure. Yeah, good.
Right.
I won't forget to sign that contract, sir. You're right. Yeah.
No, my Eric tells me that all the time. He's like, Kristen, people are scared of you. And I'm like, why? Just talk to me. I don't get it. I don't see it.
Yeah, no, I get that a lot.
I had a conversation earlier this week with someone I shared with you guys, and I was told that they didn't come to me sooner because they were intimidated by me. And I said,
right.
It's on you. I said, I'm not apologizing for your perception of things. I've never done anything to make you feel intimidated by me. And
right.
I'm not going to apologize for it. That's on you.
There's a big difference between you being intimidated and somebody being intimidated by you.
Right.
Big difference.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
I think too, that bitch word gets thrown around a lot
Yep.
because people don't understand, um, how to use the proper words. They don't understand that, yeah, I work really hard. I'm a powerful businesswoman, right? So automatically that's scary for somebody and they don't know how to refer to me or how to interact with me. So they just call me bitch. And that's fine. I think it's endearing. I really don't care. I take it as a compliment because I assume that they don't get it, right?
Same.
So I'm used to it at this point. So,
Right.
but for other women out there that are going through that, you're not the only ones. It happens to all of us. The second you become relevant and you become a threat, you're automatically a bitch. I might as well add it to my business card, I think, right?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I also think too, the older you get, the less it bothers you. Like I
Oh yeah.
don't care what anybody says about me. Like I have great friends, as proven
Yeah.
right here. I've got a great fan. Who cares?
Right.
Good chat. I probably think you're stupid, which is way worse than being a bitch.
So I have to say something, because growing up in the real estate world, when I was working with Kevin, there was this one realtor, and I won't name her, but I hated to call her. I thought she was just the meanest woman. And now that I have my real estate license and I'm still dealing with her, she's still in our market, I look back and I'm like, I get it. I now know why you are the way you are. I get it.
Yes.
And I almost kind of
Yes.
want to apologize to her. I kind of almost
Yes.
call her and be like, this is how I feel. I get it. Like this.
That's a thing. That's a thing I've talked about a lot. So like all the time in all these big, huge Facebook groups, you'll hear and see people posting, this agent doesn't answer their phone. This agent doesn't do that. And like, I understand that there really are some of those agents out there, but how about we just give each other like all a break? Like I work almost 100 hours a week. And yes, sometimes I struggle with getting back to people immediately. It's not like I'm sitting on my ass and doing nothing
Right.
all the time.
Right.
So people, I don't understand why it's so combative. We're supposed to be cooperating brokers. That's what co-op, that word that you get paid for, means. It means cooperating with the other side. So I don't understand why everybody has to be like just always assuming that the person on the other side of the transaction is less than them and doing bad. It just,
Or out to get them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't
We all have
know.
the same goal. We all have the same.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Give people a break, man.
So
Yeah, I think-
for
Piggybacking on that, I think that for a lot of realtors, the hardest part of the transaction or the least favorite part is dealing with the other broker. And I don't understand why we all have such a problem getting along when we all have the same goal to get to the closing table. Well, we should all have the same goal of getting to the closing table and getting our clients the home that they want and our sellers selling the house they want, for the amount of money they want. Why is that so hard? Why is it always an issue? It seems like every
Right.
time. It's almost like a real estate dick measuring contest. The second you
Right.
submit a contract and it's who's going to, step up and take over the transaction and lead the rest of the transaction and who's going to fall in line. And that's the most frustrating thing for me to watch. It's the second that somebody starts giving me their resume and how they're better than me, it triggers something in my brain that is not positive and I don't know how to shut it off. So I just don't respond.
Same.
There's a lot of ego in this business. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially, I'd say the last 5 years, because a bull market makes everybody a genius, right? So
Right.
got all these people running around that think that they're God, and it's not fun to work with. I want to know what Jess does for fun. I don't think we talked about that.
Yeah, Jess, what do you do?
I'm like
So sledding at midnight.
sledding at midnight. I feel like it's such a weird question at this point in my life, because I feel like for fun, I sit in the bleachers at baseball with the other baseball moms drinking White Claws, because that's how we roll these days, right?
Right.
No, but I mean, like, for me, honestly, like doing nothing is what I like to do for fun. Like when someone invites you to do something and you're like, yeah, I've got nothing going on. I have nothing going on that I'm looking forward to. That doesn't mean I'm available to come play with you, right?
So true.
So for me, it's hanging out at home in pajamas, which I love, and watching crap TV and eating junk food and being left alone for a little bit. Like, it's my
Okay.
thing in the world.
Real question. How many out of the 4 of us right now are business on top and pajamas on the bottom? Just out of curiosity.
Totally. I have sweatpants on right now.
So if you're just
Same.
listening to audio, that's 3 out of 4 hands raised.
And if you're
This is all
keeping
party.
track, I'm like in a 1999 J-Lo velour tracksuit.
Does it say juicy on your butt?
It does not.
Oh
my God.
It is not. I do not have the J-Lo body to go with.
You have a pretty
J-
juicy,
The J
Right?
on one side and the ICY on the other.
you got a pretty juicy butt. So again, like if you don't know the 4 of us all that well, we're really balanced, which makes me laugh. So like you've got Jessica and Kristen who consistently work out, are fit, are into all that stuff. And then you've got Angela and I that are like fitness, this Chick-fil-A. I'm Popeyes, whatever. She's Chick-fil-A in my mouth.
I
So,
shotgunned a can of Ready Whip before this. So.
You did.
She was.
We took a picture to document.
we got
She really
proof.
I told you about it though, so I have ownership in this too.
He egged me on. I mean, I'll do
know?
anything once. So peer
Who doesn't
pressure.
know how to squirt whipped cream in your mouth at this age in life?
No, she was eating a cookie and I was like, do you want to know what's really good with that type of cookie? Cool Whip. And she got the Ready Whip out of the fridge and did
Yep.
Ooh, whip.
Yeah.
Lindsay, what is your go-to snack that you have to have every as your guilty pleasure snack?
All of them, all the snacks. No, okay. I'm like, it's got to be salty, sweet, salty.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I gotta. It's like a sandwich of snackiness. Sour candy is like my jam.
What kind?
Chocolate. Okay, really?
Yeah.
Sour,
Let's put it out
sour.
there.
Okay, so if I'm eating candy, it's Sour Patch Kids, hot tamales, and then like a piece of chocolate, like a Crunch Bar or Twix or something like that. Usually, I love popcorn. We watch a lot of movies, so I eat a lot of popcorn.
Have you tried the Twix popcorn that Jess told me about that I can't stop buying from Sam's Club right now? Oh my God.
No, I haven't tried that. So Ryan's Aunt Debbie in Michigan taught me this recipe for it's like marshmallow pop. It's the best thing I've ever had in my entire life. It takes 30 seconds to make in the microwave. It's like marshmallow caramel popcorn. It's seven.
So if you have something you want to say to Lindsay, make sure that you say it with hot tamales and popcorn and probably a little bit of chocolate and some Sour Patch Kids. Kristen, if you say kale, I swear to God.
Oh no. I am totally into Snickers, chocolate cake, chocolate brownies, and then gummy bears.
I love gummy bears.
Gummy bears.
Like Haribo gummy bears or
just regular
like-
gummy bears. Just
like
regular
the generic ones that taste funny?
Not the generic
Jess?
ones.
Jess is embarrassing for her stash of sweet tarts. Holy shit.
No.
You have it? Can we see it? Do you have it?
I was
ready?
actually just looking because I was totally gonna pull it out. I don't have it in here right now. I am
Fail.
sour sweet tarts to the point where like I eat them to where my tongue bleeds.
Same. I do that with pineapple
Like
too.
I can't
Yeah.
stop, and then I'll come downstairs
Mentally unstable.
like I love salt and vinegar chips and queso.
What? Together?
Oh my
Balance with the way I eat.
God.
Ooh,
That's why I have to go to the
really
gym.
good.
I eat like a psycho. I eat like a teenage boy whose parents are out of town and love. That's how I eat.
Salt and vinegar chips and queso?
That sounds really
Girl,
good.
don't knock it till you try it.
And then
I'm
try
coming
it.
over.
No, you gotta try it. It's literally
like it's
amazing.
talent.
And like I can't eat a sandwich if it doesn't have chips on it. It has to
Same.
be.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift, we were watching the documentary the other night, and Taylor Swift takes her tortilla chip and puts it in the burrito.
Yes.
It doesn't show you what a genius she is. I just don't know what does.
French fries and Frosties or chocolate
Oh, that's to die for.
shake. And the bummer is it's snowing so hard right now. I can't go anywhere for a snack.
No.
Angela, what about you? What do you snack on?
What don't I snack on? I mean, I am like the picture of health, but like not the picture you're thinking of. The opposite of that. Like right now, I'm currently eating these.
Those are amazing.
Fudge stripes.
so
Oh,
good.
no.
Those are so
Um,
good.
Anytime a new Oreo comes out, I'm on it, like white on rice, ready for it. I like Oreos. I like
Yes.
donuts. I'm an
Ah.
equal opportunity snacker. I'll eat it all. I love Chick-fil-A Polynesian sauce. Like,
She needs to be, I'm not even joking. Like, I think she needs to be sponsored by Chick-fil-A. We need to make
Right?
that happen.
I
Because
eat so
Right.
much Chick-fil-A. I was invited to like the inner sanctum of Chick-fil-A. Like, to their headquarters. They invited me because I eat so much of that shit.
And because you advertise them for free
I
all
do.
day long.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
They should
do.
sponsor my office. I feel like they owe me a lot rent or something, or fees.
A year of
But
free
no,
chicken.
like I like sour candy too. Like love it. But I only like watermelon sour candy. I also like
Ooh.
jelly beans.
Yeah, I like jelly beans.
Ooh,
So
I like jelly beans, but I don't like the Russian roulette of is this popcorn or
Oh.
or booger or whatever. Yeah, that's gross. Yeah.
toasted marshmallow jelly beans can F right off. I'm sorry. They ruin my life. They're gross.
I love popcorn. Like my ultimate mix is popcorn jelly beans, margarita jelly beans, watermelon, and cherry all together, probably with some licorice ones in there, the black licorice.
Oh, licorice.
Yeah.
Oh.
You
Love
are
it.
like the
Love
one
it all
person
together.
in the universe that likes black licorice. That just
Yeah.
makes me gag.
Love it.
It's like Jaeger. It tastes. And
Yeah.
every time I have ever tried to take a shot of Jaeger in my life, which has been a long time, but I put it in there because I like the smell, and I'm like, oh, this won't be bad. And then it's in my mouth, and I'm like,
Ew.
it needs to come out right now. It's disgusting. No licorice. No one I know eats licorice.
I love Good and Plenty's. Those are like my nightstand snack.
I feel like we're getting divorced today. That's disgusting.
Right?
No. What is wrong with you?
All right.
So speaking of divorce, the four of us are all driven, like crazy driven. And people probably don't know that probably comes from a not so good place, right? So I think all four of us are from families of divorce, right? Yeah.
I am.
I am.
So when you find a group of people that are this driven, they've chosen to either let that nasty, ugly thing drive them or consume them and feel bad about themselves about it and dwell on it. And we've all decided to take it and fuel us to be better. And I think that drive to never want to be in that place and be in a place where you're trying to figure out if you're going to be able to eat tonight. You know, I don't ever want to go back to that. That's why I work as hard as I do, because I don't want to have to worry about whether or not my kids are going to have jelly for their peanut butter and jelly sandwich, or if it's just going to be straight up peanut butter because we couldn't afford the jelly this week. Like, I'm not going back to that place. I will do whatever it takes. I'll work 400 hours straight until I can't sleep anymore, you know, just to make sure that we don't have to have that problem. You know, my mom worked really hard. I'm sure your family did too, to make sure that we had something. And I have been so incredibly grateful to my mom for everything that she gave me. One of the coolest things I got to do in the last few years is I bought her a house. And that was like, for me, that was like one of the goals that I was so excited to achieve. And so going to visit her last year and seeing that house and what she's done to it is really a cool thing for me. So
That's awesome.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So starting with Kristen, I'd like to ask everybody, when you're all said and done, what do you hope that your kid says about you? What's the legacy that you hope that you leave behind for him?
Oh my gosh, that's a good question. I mean, I hope he sits back and looks and be like, my mom was a badass mom. If he can say that, I'm good.
I think you're a badass mom.
Well, thank you.
What about you, Jess? What do you hope that the boys say about you?
It's funny because Colin, who's 19, he said to me the other day, we were sitting in the kitchen talking about something, and Colin said, you know, Mom, the older I get, the more I appreciate everything that you did for me. And I think, like, you know, we don't get to hear that, right?
It's got to feel good.
Especially from our teenager. But he's getting older. He gets what happened, and he gets how hard it was. And so honestly, if my kids can look back at any point and say, I just appreciate everything my mom did for me, like, I think that's what I want. And for my husband to be like, God, my wife's hot.
I hope Kaylin says, my mom really loved me, and God bless her soul, she left me enough money for therapy to fix all the shit she messed up. What about you, Ange? What do you hope that your kids say?
I just want them to be proud of me and understand that, you know, me not being around all the time when they were growing up wasn't because I wanted to be away. It was because I wanted to make sure that they were set up financially for their future. And I want them to realize it's sacrifice. And I want to leave a legacy to them. You know, I don't want them to have to worry about where their next meal is going to come from ever in their life. So, yeah, I just want to be proud of me, probably like all of us. So, well, I think that you guys have learned enough about all of us today. Nobody cried. Well, I kind of did a little bit. Like
we almost got there.
We almost did it. So we'll save that for next time. But thank you guys so much for watching us. We really, really, really loved sharing a little bit of ourselves with you. And we hope to see you guys next week. Bye,
guys.
everybody.
We hope you loved our show today. If you enjoyed it, do the homegirls a favor and leave us a review on iTunes or wherever you listen. Share this episode with all of your homegirls and friends, and find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter @HomegirlsCO.